Hi, this is Alex from Heroic Tourney, and today I'm talking about Fir Bolg. This is the third part in that series where I'm talking about one of the characters I've developed. This section is the more heavily nuanced section about Fir Bolg, aka Alexander Sandy Mirror. Much of the reason behind the more elaborated detail, some might say belabored, on the character sheet is because of the way the hero system is designed, specifically in 5th edition. Building a character in Hero has been likened to everything from arcane math to a complete and total chore. But in reality, it's about playing a game. And mixing and matching the skills and powers to create the character you want, not necessarily min-maxing either, is part of the fun. From there, your character and playing skills get tested in a game that hopefully expands across multiple sessions, becoming an enjoyable, reminiscent, worthy campaign that a well-built, iconic character thrived in. The character, of course, breathed life into by the skills of the player, which is why it's on the Heroic Tourney page. So, there's basically details here about the character as he's seen in the hero system, governing like how strong he is, how intelligent he is, his presence, his comeliness, which is a 5th edition trait, not 6th edition. Things like, the other powers that showed up in the Marvel and the V&V version, those are governed here by different rules, so you have to convert over. For example, the wand is described as a multi-power. He has invulnerability, but that's just basically the armor power. The clothing write-up is pretty unusual in that it has invulnerability itself. So what would be a power stunt in Marvel or a inventing idea in V&V actually has to be governed by points paid for if you're going to use the ability more than once, because the clothing has itself armor properties. These then can be given to other people, and that needs to be covered. So that's basically some of the abilities that are covered. Abilities like how the wand works in V&V, or like how an absorption would work, has to be converted over to hero system. Powers like his reflective shunt, his readied shunt, gift of combat. His martial arts are far more detailed here. The special effect of his powers as being a martial brick covered. He has a power skill for the wand, indicating that he knows how to use it on a fairly frequent basis. So things like that, and also governing what sort of abilities he's had once upon a time. It also covers things like it explains his DNPCs, notes about why he has normal characteristics maximum in the game, even though he's got an over 30 strength. Things like that. So it sort of explains, problems he might encounter, people he would have in his life, skills and abilities based upon his background, a lot of which matches with mine. It covers the environmental movement that I call, I kneel before God, not you, because, he has no combat penalties while kneeling or sitting because of his SCA training. Things like that, unusual abilities that you wouldn't find in a normal person. So that's basically what we're talking about here is, what makes him beyond the pale for a lot of characters. And so if you did, for example, trip him up, knock him down, if he could get up into a sitting position without necessarily going to a full stand, then guess what? He gets a huge benefit from that. Or at least it counteracts the penalties people would expect him to have. It could also mean that he could fight in some sort of, in a shorter space simply by, kneeling. He could then, fight in a 3-foot shorter space and still be effective combatant. Might be an interesting trick for him to do. So that's just sort of an explanation of what he does, what he can do. It's more nuanced in some ways. I don't want to say it's totally, the best thing in the whole wide world, but it's definitely a different way to play the game, and it enables you to play the sub-game building a really interesting character, which is something that wasn't covered as much in V&V or Marvel. Creating iconic characters in Marvel, you already have such a huge list, you really need to add a bunch more. And with V&V, it was so early in the gaming cycle that I didn't seem to have the whole I need to make an iconic character thought process behind it. But the unusual thing, of course, about V&V was that you could play yourself, which was in itself a fun hook. Then you were, projecting your character as a concept. So basically, if you want to take a look at what Fir Bolg looks like in the Champions style of role-playing games, head to the page and check it out. And this is Alex from Heroic Journey. I want you to be the best role player you can be.